What do I tell y'all, man? The beef is just in the fridge. Just because the beef is on ice, just because the beef is chilling, that don't mean that the beef is cooked. That don't mean that the beef is well done. Now, this is the thing. Kendrick has came out on a Metro Boomin Future album, the song Like That. He not only dissed Drake on this song, he dissed J. Cole as well. And he dissed both of them because of first person shooter mode, because of them clicking up, and for other reasons that I'll get into later. But I got some funny stuff, not funny, but I mean, I got some things to talk about later in the video as far as Future's role in this. Now, listen, we not going to read the whole verse. We just going to go over the parts that are clever or witty or just necessary to read. So he basically starts off saying they talking outside of their necks. He says, DOT, the money, power, respect. The last one is better. Say it's a lot of goofies with a check. You know, I just took that at face value the first time I heard it, but it's supposed to be a double entendre because Drake works with Nike. Let's continue. So, niggas clicking up but cannot be legit. No 40 water. That's just a play on, the rap name Be Legit. He's associated with E40, but they can't be legit as in they're not being for real. You probably get that, but, got to break down the lyrics for anybody watching, we do that here. So, yeah. So, fuck the sneak dissing. First person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. So, with that being said, First Person Shooter is a song that Drake and J. Cole did, of course. We'll keep it going. Think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD. Motherfuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me. Now, I want to break this down very quickly because you may be looking like, okay, we get it by this point. Like, it's just a J. Cole and Drake. But this past week, Big Sean let out a verse, a freestyle. And one of the things he said was, I haven't had time to compete with the people y'all label as the big 3, something along those lines. So recently, he's had a line about the big 3, and I'm positive that the first person shooter mode inspired that. And he actually spit a few more bars about that. So, he's had problems with Sean in the past, but this is a hot topic now. So Sean could be lumped into not the big 3, but just, to talk about this, like, motherfuck the big 3, because he mentioned it as well. In the last 2 bars, I'm going to read, nigga bum for all your dogs getting buried. That's a K with all these nines. He gonna see Pet Cemetery. Nigga bum. So, with that being said, we all know Drake's album, his most recent one, was For All the Dogs. So, this is just a play off that, talking about he gonna kill his dogs and all that shit. So, I just want to refresh you real quick when it comes to Kendrick and J. Cole's relationship. They've had a pretty good relationship, as do him and Drake. But in first person shooter mode, J. Cole said, love when they argue who the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot, Aubrey, or me? We the big 3 like we started the league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali. So with that, he actually name dropped Kendrick, and he's been under the premise that they've been cool the whole time. But the thing that he underestimated about Kendrick is his pettiness and bitterness and things like that. You also have to remember that Kendrick said, the Kanye, he said this on one of his songs on his last album, the Kanye and Drake, linking up and squashing they shit to do that performance had him confused, and that he's got some maturing to doing things like that. So you have that. Now I'm going to briefly get into my assessment of this, then into the future stuff. So the first thing I want to say is, when I first heard this, I was extremely underwhelmed. And I'm not going to lie. It might be because of a bias at this point. I'm not going to sit here and lie like I'm super unbiased or anything like that. This is the thing about it. I watched a 40-minute video of Kendrick and Drake's disses towards each other, all the subliminals. And the thing that you have to realize, I got on Instagram People don't be informed. There was a guy who had a top comment trying to catch everybody up, and he said they've been dissing each other for the past 5 years. Newsflash, Control dropped in 2013, and Drake dissed him on the language on Nothing Was the Same that also dropped in 2013. What does that mean? That means that these niggas have been sneak dissing and subliminal dissing each other for 10 years with no climax. Who the fuck? It's a few things about this, bro. One of the things is the verse was underwhelming to me because I just didn't think that there was anything that stood out that was that crazy, no bar that was just like that over the top to where it was like, oh, that's crazy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this is redundant. Like I said, it's been 11 years at this point, and the Pusha T Drake beef has seen better action. Better action. Let me say it again. Better. Even the Common versus Drake beef, in my opinion, seen better action. Even the Meek Mill and Drake beef has seen better action than the Kendrick and Drake beef. Like outside of the Control verse, they sneak disses just be peppered and it just be so light and it just really don't move me. It really don't excite you after a certain point. You got to think about it. If you really think about it, think about Wayne and Jay-Z's subliminal war towards each other. At a certain point, it stopped and it didn't last 11 years. I could tell you that if I go back and do the math, it didn't last 11 years. So it's like, this is the hardest he's come as far as like being direct and stuff like that. But it still doesn't move the needle for me. It just doesn't. And this is the other reason why I think the verse is like, like just mid to me, like just keeping it 500,000. This nigga in his relationship with Future, it's like they fuck with each other for some reason that I can't understand or fathom. But it's like they be on a mission to fuck up each other's songs, because this nigga Future was in a pocket with his flow and everything. The song, if you listen to the song is one thing and the song flows a certain way. And of course, Kendrick is a rapper who just doesn't give a fuck about what the song is doing. He's going to come on and do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And he had an agenda this time around. But when you go and look at Future, he got on his shit. He got on a TDE Kendrick shit and said, la-dee-da-dee-da. Like, so you know how that shit worked out. But I'm not going to keep going about how, because the bars are kind of there. I'm not going to lie on that, but it just doesn't move me. That's just what it is. Now let's talk about this Future Drake Cold War that's going on right now. Now you could say I'm making this up, but we just got to look at a few of the facts and things of that nature when it comes to this situation with Drake. So boom. When it comes to Future, he fucks with Metro Boomin, just like the rest of Atlanta. Drake is beefing with Metro Boomin because Metro Boomin has said publicly that, he felt like Drake verse didn't fit and he took his verse off of one of the songs on his album that Drake just jumped on without him asking for him. So with that, Drake has done subliminals and, got at Metro and stuff like that, even on social media and stuff like that. So that might be something that Future just didn't like himself. But do you think Future would jump out the window just if there was nothing going on with him just for Metro, even though he says if young Metro don't trust you, I'll shoot you? Possibly, because the album is named We Don't Trust You, So that's one thing. So that could be a subliminal within itself. But let me add more context to this as far as recent events. There were rumors that Future was upset that he did another collaboration album as far as Drake, because their collaboration album was probably, arguably, if not the best, 100% one of the best collaboration albums in rap history. With him being as hot as he is, hotter than any of the Atlanta rappers and stuff like that, as far as a global scale and a national scale. Drake doing what he did with 21 Savage, Future didn't feel that because it messed with history. Future was also in an interview and he said it never happened as far when he was asked about, the collab tape that he did with Drake. So, with that being said, those two things could have led to him booking Kendrick to do this verse, and even Kendrick, just like, hey, if that's how you want to get down, do it. And don't get it twisted. This nigga Future very well may have some subliminals towards Drake on this album, because I heard some things like this nigga saying you was my number one fan and all types of, like, he's not a lyrical miracle rapper, so you can't really stick too much that he say, to anybody, but it is what it is. Now, the other things I'll say to add context to this is the nigga did come into the game and Drake left a sour taste in his mouth, because Tony Montana, Drake was on a remix. Drake was, of course, Drake. In the stimulus package, he paid for the Drake verse and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure, because they didn't know each other like that. And this cat didn't show up for the video shoot. So Future expressed, you can go and look this up, he expressed that he was upset that Drake didn't show up for the video shoot. But they still managed to mend that and make a lot of music together, have a good relationship and stuff like that. Now, there could be nothing there, but I just have to lay all of that out, because this is it's like a big shakeup right now. Everybody else is more excited for this than I am, because this is like, this beef is expired to me. Like, it's expired. You could see the mold and the goop coming out of the beef, because you motherfuckers, like, you thought you could just freeze this shit forever. You thought you could freeze this beef for 10 years and just keep putting it on the skillet and it was going to cook good. No, this shit is not cooking good to me. But everybody else is excited. Shit, you as a viewer are probably excited for this bullshit. But this is what's going to happen. Drake is going to drop more subliminal bars, and they're not going to do direct disses towards each other. Kendrick don't really be outside like that, meaning he doesn't go to clubs, he doesn't go to bars, he's not at a bunch of events all the time. So unlike Chris Brown, who ran into this nigga in a club and they was throwing bottles, that type of shit is not going to happen with Drake and Kendrick, which is great, because I don't want violence in hip hop or anything like that. But I just say all that to say, this is just like, it's nothing there. It's no real substance to this beef at this point. It's fucking bullshit to me. That's just my opinion, but with the Future stuff, I think there's a lot more to it than just Kendrick doing it. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts. I'm out.